Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest installment of our ongoing editorial webinar series, Coffee Talk. Each hour-long information-packed episode features observations and insights of an independent expert on a wide range of tech industry topics. Many thanks to the underwriting sponsor of this episode, high-performance enterprise networking solutions provider Juniper Networks. Without their support, this series would not be possible. And thanks to you for joining us. I'm John K. Waters, Editor-in-Chief of the Converge 360 Group of 1105 Media, and I'll be your moderator. Today's topic is digital transformation and AIOps, the future of IT. And our lead presenter is technologist, creator of compelling content, and senior resultant, Howard M. Cohen. Before we get started, just a bit of housekeeping. This episode is being recorded for later access. Keep an eye out for an email with a link to that recording. It'll be coming your way in the next few days. We'll make some time during the talk for some questions. Please feel free to type your questions into the Q&A box at any time. On the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see some extra resources provided by our sponsor. Be sure to check those out. And as a small thank you to the first 200 attendees who stick with us to the end, we'll be sending you a $5 gift certificate to Starbucks. It's a cup of joe to go with the info. Now let's meet our first presenter. In his 40-plus years in the IT industry, Howard has held senior executive positions in many of the top channel partner organizations, and he currently writes for and about IT and the IT channel. Howard is a sought-after speaker, an insightful observer of the technology landscape, and one of our very, very favorite presenters. Take it away, Howard.
Thank you, John. And hello, everybody. Welcome to our presentation for today. Those of you who've attended any of my presentations in the past know that I like to start every presentation with a word of the day. It's the writer in me. What can I tell you? Today's word is speed. We feel the need for speed. And you may be wondering why I chose speed for this session. Well, that's fair. CIO magazine recently said, speed of business dictates how quickly any enterprise can achieve and maintain leadership in the market. And this is my favorite phrase. For enterprises undertaking digital transformation initiatives, AIOps can make all the difference. So this session is absolutely perfect. Impact of AIOps on digital transformations. The first question that raises is, if we're looking for speed, what slows us down? You know, what is it that slows IT professionals down? Well, so imagine you're Smokey and you're sitting there and you're working on a script to automate something, or you're working on a report or rebuilding some system for somebody. All of a sudden the phone rings and it's like, oh my God, we have a system failure in the data center. We need somebody to come over here and fix it right away. And what do? You are back to fighting fires. I've asked many IT professionals, of all the hats they wear, which one would they most prefer to give up? And they all say their firefighter's hat, their fireman's cap. So that's not a surprise. We hate fighting fires because it slows us down. The only way, how can you help to prevent IT fires, is do what Smokey did. Get on your computer and get in front of it. Start to come up with ways to prevent those fires from happening so that you never have to go running out on a fire call. Thank you, dear. So this is why we're doing a presentation today on digital transformation and AIOps. Now, quick clarification. Before we do anything, I want to define both of these terms, because everybody has definitions for them. They all vary. And I just wanted to let you know the ones that I'm using for today's presentation. And if you want to adopt them, I'm honored. So let's take a look. First of all, let's deal with digital transformation. Okay, so for the definition of digital transformation, I turn to the Gartner Glossary, which is a wonderful, wonderful resource. And usually has the definitions of every word we use, every term we use, and a lot of the alphabet soup we use as well. And according to Gartner, digital transformation can refer to anything. I love that start. It can refer to anything. Anything can be a digital transformation. Well, they kind of narrow it down very little by saying that anything from IT modernization, cloud computing, to digital optimization, to the invention of new business models, it's all very vague. Then they say it's widely used in public sector organizations, and it refers to modest initiatives, such as putting services online or modernizing legacy monolithic applications. So it's more like digitization, really, than digital business transformation. So this is not really the definition of what we're giving you the definition for. I'm sorry, digital transformation projects I've seen are far from modest, and that's not what it is. I could show you similar definitions. I've actually collected, and they vary so widely that I studied all of them and came up with my own. So here's my definition of digital transformation: to say that it's not so much about the technology as it is about people. It's about you and how technology can be used to help you do things better, faster, more efficiently, more effectively, by taking care of the simple things, the repetitive tasks that people shouldn't be burdened with. So it's assisting you in getting those things done, or it's actually doing some of them by itself. This frees your people up to do more productive things, more engaging things, things that will be more fulfilling for them and help them enjoy their work more. Those are all good things. And to me, that's what digital transformation is all about: using technology to improve things for people. And they can happen where we live, where we work, or where we play. I should say and. Okay, so we've clarified what I mean by digital transformation, and I certainly hope you agree. Now let's take a good hard look at AIOps. AIOps. So back to digital transformation, AIOps. Where did this word come from? So here's the genesis of AIOps. For those who don't know, ops simply means operations. It could be applied to anything in any business. If you have an operations group, some people will call it the ops group. At a given point, management determined that it would be much more efficient if we were to put together the software developers with the operators who are actually going to run their software. And so we came up with DevOps, the software developers working with the operators. And the idea is that the developers could create a program, the operators would put it into use, they'd then go to the users and get some feedback, bring it back to the software developers, who would then improve the code, send it back out, and the operators would again deploy it. And iteratively, going around and around, the software would just keep getting better and better. There are companies that are now creating and releasing upward of 200 updates per day. So putting dev and ops together worked really, really well. And then, oh my God, they realized what they forgot: security. That's just as critical as development or operations. So they decided to stretch it a little bit and call it DevSecOps. And they were right. I mean, nothing in IT can do without security. So DevSecOps also made a whole lot of sense. And then at a given point, somebody realized, well, it's funny, but everything we do in dev or sec or ops is all about what the business needs. And so we really ought to get some people from the business development group involved in this. And you guessed it, they came up with BizDevSecOps. BizDevSecOps. I challenge you to say that 3 times fast without stopping. Okay, so now we're all in the habit of creating compound words. And somebody said, so what do we call the operations group that's going to be using artificial intelligence to improve our IT? And they called it, of course, AIOps. So that's how we came to this compound word, artificial intelligence operations, AIOps. AIOps is a combination of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. Artificial intelligence, actually machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, and deep learning is a subset of machine learning. The idea is that the machine learning ingests all the data and processes all the data and then feeds those results to the artificial intelligence, which forms relationships between things, how things connect to each other, and then tries to mimic human responses in delivering its output. Now, I use the word mimicking very carefully because a lot of people have let us know recently that artificial intelligence is something they're afraid of. Well, so here's the thing. That creates kind of an 800-pound gorilla in the room. Like, why are we talking about artificial intelligence if it's so dangerous? And I thought what I would do is to hammer this home by turning to three people who have been quoted in the past. Actually, this is from an article I wrote in 2017. This is 6 years ago. But the three people start with Bill Gates, who said that he's in the camp that's concerned about superintelligence. Yeah, AI can do wonderful things for us, but if it gets super intelligent, then that's a concern. And he says that he agrees with Elon Musk and some others on this and don't understand why some people are not concerned. So it's perfectly natural to be concerned. Now, he mentioned Elon Musk. I will read you Elon Musk's quote verbatim. I hope we're not just a biological bootloader for digital superintelligence. Unfortunately, that is increasingly a problem. AI is our biggest existential threat. Our biggest existential threat. Wow. Okay, and then the third was Stephen Hawking, a true genius across the years. And his point was that the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. At least he was subtle about it. It would take off on its own, redesign itself at an ever-increasing rate. Humans, who are limited by slow biological evolution, couldn't compete and would be superseded. Okay, so it could spell the end of the human race. It is our greatest existential threat. My response to that, I guess there's two. One is that it could or would. That means that there is still time to focus ourselves and guide ourselves. And frankly, the people who are developing artificial intelligence today are recognizing that we have to exhibit real conservative thinking as we approach the development. They all mention superintelligence. So there's artificial intelligence, and then there's artificial superintelligence. We have not developed software that can think. AI is software that can approximate what people do and use data to form correlations and generate answers. So I read you these three horrifying quotes from three true geniuses to really say that it is up to us to make this work well. And, I guess it kind of feels like it brings us back to the beginning of the atomic age. And we had to blow some things up before we realized how dangerous it is. Let's not blow things up this time. This time, let's use it to help us. And in terms of AIOps, once again, I feel the need to share with you the definition that I'm comfortable with. And this one comes from Gartner, too, from their glossary. Artificial intelligence for IT operations combines big data and machine learning to automate IT operations. Just that simple. It involves event correlation, anomaly detection, causality determination. That's great. We're going to discuss each of those a little bit before we're done today. But I think that's what's important to remember. We're consuming data and processing it faster than humans ever could to provide meaningful answers by showing how things relate to each other. Beyond just one-for-one matching, we can draw inferences and deliver good responses. So I'd like to focus in on AIOps' fundamental capabilities because I think it helps us think about how we do everything with AIOps. The first one, again, from Gartner's glossary, is that AI includes the ingestion and correlation of data. Now, that clearly is referring to machine learning. Deep learning, by the way, takes us deeper into the inferences that are made between various different bodies of data. But the observed phase is machine learning, shows how old I am. Machine learning ingesting the data and correlating it for us. Then if we engage with it, stealing my thunder, we engage with it. It automates tasks, it analyzes risks, manages knowledge, and helps to discover the root causes of things. So not only can we resolve them, but we can prevent them happening again. And we can decide on what action to take. Users are telling us that that's just not good enough, those two steps. It's not good enough to be able to tell us what's wrong and recommend steps to take. They need immediate action. They need us to resolve their problems instantly. And so the third capability, thank God, is ACT. This includes scripts and runbooks that are in the AI libraries that actually start to do something about these identified issues. So we pull in the information, we process it and come up with a solution, and we apply that solution. Pretty simple. And that's what AIOps is there to do. To get even more clarity, I thought what we would do is look at what ways in which AIOps is applied. So how do we apply artificial intelligence to operations? What you're looking at on the screen, and I think a lot of you will probably recognize it, is a network traffic log. This is the data that's coming into and out of all of our routers. And I ask you to imagine it scrolling past you at an unbelievable rate. I tried to do that, but it didn't look good. But imagine, please engage your imagination. And this is just scrolling very quickly past you. Your job is to identify any anomalies that are occurring within this data. That's impossible. I don't know, and even savants can't look at this data moving that fast and extract observations from it, do pattern recognition on it. It's just not something that our minds were built to do. So if the goal is to detect anomalies, here's your answer. The machine learning reads and analyzes a high volume IT traffic log. And it does so in real time. As it's going through, ML is ingesting it. It then feeds it up to AI, who accelerates the root cause analysis and provides a plan for remediation or prevention. And again, I have to stress, yes, when a problem exists, we have to fix it. But we haven't done the whole job unless we also determine how to prevent it from happening again. And AI knows that. Anomalies are assessed and resolved rapidly. So you're doing exactly what your users are crying out for. Noticing the problem, assessing the problem, figuring out the response, and doing it. And that's one good application of AIOps. Of course, another one, and we alluded to it already, is the importance of security. And here again, yes, part of it is analyzing those logs, but there's plenty of other data coming through that AIOps can investigate. So it's always looking for threats wherever they may arise. When it finds one, it assesses it, figures out how to fix it. And And the fact is, it's unquestionable. It can detect and assess and resolve. Detect, assess, and resolve. That's what your users really want. Potential breaches and threats far faster than humans can. So why not let it? And that's another great application of AIOps. Here's another one. Resource and capacity monitoring and planning. Here, capacity monitoring. Let's look at that one first. From the perspective of somebody who is managing cloud solutions for their company, capacity monitoring is one of the most important things you can do to preserve your budget. Why do I say that? Well, we all know that one of the big advantages of cloud computing is that you can share resources, and you only pay for resources that you use. Well, according to the rules, you are considered to be using a resource from the moment you request it to the moment you release it. And that's it. Once you've released it, billing ends. However, there are many users, unfortunately, and you probably all know some of them, that orphan their resources. They request a virtual machine, get it fully configured, use it, and then stop using it, and don't remember to release it. If somebody is monitoring capacity and seeing that some resources are going unused, they can get that resource released, and we won't have so many zombies, so many orphans just laying out there doing nothing. So that's one way in which capacity monitoring is important. In terms of planning, resource planning, well, again, relating it to budget, I'll compare it to the old days. Imagine you buy yourself a server and you have it equipped with a 5 terabyte storage drive, 5 terabytes. Currently, you're only using about a terabyte, but you're looking down the road 3 or 4 years, the typical useful life of a server. And you say, well, you know what? By that time, I will need at least 5 terabytes. So I'm going to buy 5 terabytes. Here's the thing. From the moment it's installed and operating, at the moment that it's installed and operating, you are using 1 terabyte and not using the other 4. You're paying for them, but you're not using them. You're amortizing them, but you're not using them. Now, then you start to add more data, and maybe you get to 2, and then 3, maybe you even get to 5 by the end of 4 or 5 years. Okay, so you filled the hard drive, but all of that time in between, you've been paying for a resource you didn't use. This is another reason the cloud is so attractive, because you can plan your utilization, plan how much you're going to need, and then you can throttle it up and down as you need to. In AIOps, the proactive analytics involved help you take fuller advantage of elasticity. And you can provision more storage up front. Let's say you have a seasonal business, and when your season comes on, you provision more storage to handle all the extra load. At the end of the season, you're going to throttle back that storage and stop paying for that much. Well, with your server, you couldn't do that, but now you can take advantage of the elasticity of your resources to auto-scale. And AIOps can auto-scale them for you. It can watch for when you're using, what you're using. And if you have virtual machines that no longer need the resources you were using, it will scale them down. So that's one wonderful way in which it can assist your resource planning. As it's doing so, this is a huge, huge advantage. As it's doing so, the AIOps system is learning. It's learning your network. It's learning your utilization patterns. It's learning your resource concerns. And as it learns more and more, it can make better and better recommendations. Now, you may remember the invitation you all received to come to this session, and it began with, wow, why didn't I think of that? Well, this is that moment when your AIOps tells you, we recommend that you do this to support this whole user group. Why didn't I think of that? Okay. So that's another great application of AIOps. I want you to guess what I'm thinking about in this slide. How many of you feel like the water is moving? It isn't, but sometimes when I look at it, I think it is. It's scary. Anyway, I'm talking about resource pools. Okay, the nature of cloud is that it is a pool of resources that can be shared amongst many, many users, right? Okay, here's the thing. Any pool of resources is finite. It contains all of the resources you put in it. Now, yes, a lot of people can share pieces of it as they go along, but what happens when they've shared all of the resource? Let's say they're sharing all of the storage you have provisioned into this resource pool. What then? The answer is then you go out and order more hard drives to add to the resource pool, and you wait until they arrive and you configure them and you install them and implement them, and you will send out an apology to the users, but now there's more storage available. Obviously, that's not what you want to be doing. Okay. You want instead to use predictive analytics, where the system itself is monitoring its resource pool and it reconfigures logical drives as it needs to, but then it also anticipates that very soon you're going to reach the limit of your storage, your memory, your processors, whatever resources you're sharing. It will anticipate when you're going to run out of them. Now, you can order all that hardware and you can take your time configuring it, installing it, implementing it, making it ready, and then just add it to the pool quietly where no one will notice and no one will be impacted and no one will be disrupted or delayed. And that's the way we all want to manage our cloud resources in our networks. So that's another great application of AIOps. Guess what this refers to? The tsunami of data, big data. There are 3 V's that we use as metrics in how well we manage big data: the volume of data, the variety of data types, and the velocity of the incoming data. And all 3 become more and more difficult every day as more and more volumes of data are being generated. We have more data collection devices than we ever dreamed of, deployed in all kinds of places all over the planet. It was said a few years ago that in the previous 2 years, we had generated as much data as the world had generated in the previous history of time. I find that hard to wrap my head around. Suffice it to say that we as a populace are generating yottabytes of data all the time. And it's just coming at us. How do we manage it? How do we get our arms around it? We don't stand a chance. That's just the simple truth. Humans can't process fast enough to keep track of all that data that's coming in and properly manage it, properly secure it, properly supervise it. But the fact is that that is exactly what AI and ML were designed to do, is manage huge quantities of all kinds of data coming in at whatever speed they come in. So managing big data is another excellent place for us to apply AIOps to help us manage our operations. While we're talking about operations, another one very popular with me, ITSM, the very first technology study I ever really got involved in. IT service management. Everybody who delivers a service needs somebody who's managing that delivery of service. There are lots of humans involved. There's lots of resources involved. There are lots of processes involved. And AIOps is in the business of identifying where processes aren't running well, where they're just inefficient. The fact is, and you can probably relate to this, at some given point in any workflow, something goes wrong. We have a problem. And so we go in, we figure out what went wrong, and we come up with a fix for it. And we put that fix in as a new process that takes place in the course of the workflow. And off we go. The problem is solved. What if, follow this, what if that problem never happened again? Happens all the time. A problem that we run into is a one-off. And we put in a whole other process to prevent it, but it never happens again. Soon we get all chock full of those things. And they're just never used, well, or they're used and they waste time because they don't produce any results. AIOps can identify those and recommend their removal. That's just one way in which process inefficiencies can be identified and remedied using AIOps. Then there are the human resources. Okay, human resources. Let's say you have a team of service providers. Important to point out that this is not just IT service providers. It could be plumbing service providers. It could be electrical. It could be law. It could be medicine. It could be anything in which people are delivering services to other people. You want to manage those resources so you can optimize the return on those investments, and you can make them all as efficient and as effective as they can possibly be. So let's say you have 2 people on a given day on your service team, and they're both sent out to do pretty much exactly the same work at 2 different customers. One comes back to you in an hour, problem solved. The other one comes back to you in 4 hours, problem solved. Wouldn't you want to know that? Wouldn't you want to know that one was 4 times faster than the other? And just keep on collecting that until you could establish a trend that indeed this one is faster than the other one. Maybe you want this one to train the other one and help them get faster. Or maybe you want the other one to kind of get some new training and get themselves faster. Or maybe you want to release them and replace them with somebody else who's faster, which would be unfortunate. But the point is, you want to be able to track those differences in efficiency. You also want to track things like frequency. One of your team members can handle, on average, 8 different service tasks a day. The others all 3, 4, 5. What's he doing differently, or what's she doing differently? How is it that they're so much more productive than the others? Maybe you want to make them the trainer for all of the others. There's plenty of responses you can take to it. But the point is, you want to know the differences between them. If you have a particular problem and you're choosing who to send out to it, you'd sure like to compare and contrast the skills available from each of those people and their comparative performance. If it's a critical customer, you want to send out the best you got. AIOps can help you determine who's the best you've got. And if your people travel from customer to customer using vehicles, or even walking on the street in a place like Manhattan where everything's close enough to walk, you want them to go to the sequence of customers that is most efficient for them, so they're not running around all over the place getting from customer to customer and taking much longer. The less time they spend traveling, the more time they spend delivering services. So in terms of ITSM, there are many ways in which machine language can ingest all the data that you're generating out of your ITSM system, and AI can come up with ways in which you can do things better, faster, more efficient. So ITSM is an excellent application. Another application, and you may not think it's an application of AIOps, but it is, it's automation. And if you ask a bunch of people, what is it you want to automate? A good proportion would say everything. The more I can automate, the better off I am. The other group would probably answer, I don't know. Well, in speaking to both groups, automation is something that helps you move simple tasks off of people or repetitive tasks off of people. There's even like remote robotic process automation where you have mechanical devices ingesting all the paper forms, and then AI digitizes them and analyzes them. So there's all kinds of automation available to us. AIOps can help you identify your opportunities. Where are there opportunities for us to do better by implementing automation? Once it's shown you those opportunities and you've green-lighted some of them, it'll even help you design and deploy those solutions across your enterprise. And it doesn't matter what kind of company you are. If anything can be automated, AIOps can help you find it and help you automate it. And then once everything's out there, from time to time, you may find that resources are just no longer in the right place. The example I like to use is a construction site. Most construction sites need vehicles. There's trucks, there's cranes, there's loaders, there's all kinds of trucks. And you may have like a bunch of your trucks over at construction site A. And then they get past a certain point and they don't really need those trucks, but they still have them. They're still there. And construction site B has need for those trucks. AIOps can notice that. It can identify that problem and have people reassign those trucks and move them over to site B or site C or site D. Obviously, you can apply that to digital resources as well as you can physical resources. But the point is that automation helps you identify opportunities to automate and then helps you increase the efficiency of your automation. Okay, so we've looked at a bunch of ways in which AIOps can be applied to affect better digital transformations. Here are some takeaways that I'd like you to leave this session with. Remember that AIOps is relatively new. There's all kinds of new advances emerging all the time. And so there may not be something there that you want. It won't be there soon because AI continues to develop. And if we're developing it right, we're developing it under control, it doesn't become super intelligent and the greatest threat to life on Earth. It's continuing to develop. And hey, when you're working with a vendor, be vocal. Let them know what you think it needs that it doesn't have. You're helping them. You're not a complainer. You're an assistant. So step one, and this is a big step actually, if you're considering implementing AIOps, is to search carefully. And the first search is inside your own organization. Search for ways in which automation could be applied to your operations if you had that available to you. Try to come up with and document as many of them as you can. And then from what you learn from that, you can start to look for a system to manage AIOps for you. One suggestion that I always give at that point, there are many tools out there that you can implement to help with various AIOps tasks. Just as there are many tools out there you can help with that can help you with network management or security or anything we do. There's plenty of tools. Here's the problem. If you have two tools, you need twice the training, twice the support. And if you have, let's say, 3, 4, 5 tools, each one being used by 1 or 2 people, well, if 1 or 2 people leave your organization, that tool becomes useless too. And so finding best of breed tools has become obvious that that's just not a good way for IT management to ever proceed. You really don't want to be looking at IT tools per se. Today, we're looking for best of platform. Best of platform. So seek an AIOps platform that can help you implement and manage AIOps for your organization. Once you've got that catalog of opportunities and you've identified the right system, it's time to implement that system. And so you're going to set up a series of initiatives. Well, here the admonition is, remember, this is an echo of when we all migrated to cloud. Remember when we migrated to cloud and some people thought it was like a forklift operation. You just take everything that's on-prem and just whoosh, move it over to the cloud. And many people found that was impossible. It's not logical. It's not smart, because you have much more opportunity to make mistakes and you're putting much more at risk. And so we went one step at a time. We took one workload, migrated it from on-prem to the cloud. Fantastic. Recommending you doing the same thing here. And you base your priorities perhaps on criticality. You have various operations, various processes, and you want to move them in the right sequence. In terms of criticality, there are two schools of thought. One is start with the lowest criticality operation. Why? Because then you can make your mistakes based on something that doesn't expose you much. Also, you can learn from it. And that's another consideration. Some people look at criticality and say, oh, nope, this is the most important thing. We've got to move it first. Okay, so you're going to move something because it has the highest criticality. That may not be your choice, but it may be the choice of your enterprise. So, just think about that very, very carefully. And here is what I think is the most important takeaway. All throughout the life of your work with AIOps, always keep asking yourself, is AIOps making life easier for me and my people? Is AIOps really helping us? And the reason I think that's so important that you always keep asking that, because that's the true definition of digital transformation and how AIOps can help us to bring about a very rosy future for IT. Hope this has been helpful. If we have any questions, John, love to.
We do indeed. We don't have much time for them, but we've got time for a couple. Wahid is wondering, are customers taking AIOps seriously? In my previous conversations, I have gotten skeptical responses.
Yeah, well, of course, for any given thing in life, there will be skeptics. And yes, a lot of people are skeptical, definitely. It's like, but part of it is because people keep on mischaracterizing AIOps, right? I mean, they think, when they think about artificial intelligence, they think of Mr. Data on Star Trek. And not for nothing, but spoiler alert, Mr. Data just achieved human level functioning in the last episode of Picard. It's not likely to happen for a long, long time. We're not trying to replace humans with silicon-based machines. We're trying to help humans, assist humans, augment their capabilities using algorithms that get things done for you more productively. So I think that simple application will eventually solve for many of the skeptics.
Okay, we've got time for one more question. It's kind of a long one here. From Lin Ma, who's wondering, one of the main challenges of integrating AIOps with digital transformation efforts is ensuring that AIOps solutions are aligned with the organization's strategic goals and objectives. Could you share some thoughts on this if we have a chance? And we've got just one short minute left, but what do you think about that, Howard?
Okay, I'll go back to what I said in the slide about the genesis of AIOps to say that at a given point, we realized that we needed to integrate the business development unit and make it BizDevSecOps. I believe that that is as true as anything we talk about, that it is a mistake to divorce the business development team from everybody in IT. IT and the management of the business have to walk hand in hand. If you think about it, the perfect reflection of this is the role of the CIO, which used to be technical. It used to be somebody who ran all the technology in the operation. Well, that's now the CTO. The CIO has been really brought fully into the C-level, and they are a member of the team that helps to guide the direction of the enterprise. So same thing here. Always keep the CIO and the business management of the company involved in the development of your implementations of AI anywhere.